Yo. Yo, yo, yo. What is up? What's up, guys? Yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about AMC. A couple of other things. Yo. What's up, Matt? CFATS, Fizz, Chris, Andre, Moon, Ape, Rebel, Alfonso, Massive Zen. I believe that's EB. Yo, yo, yo. Fizz, Brendan, K-Mets, Juan, Professor, what is up, man? Ellington, Andrew. Yo. Okay, let's go look at Amy. Okay, so gonna update some things. What you're looking at right now, this is AMC plus 8, the indicator. I will post this again today, okay? AMC plus 8 is, this one's the updated indicator. The other one will not show the correct values. This one is adjusted to display the entire AMC chart before AMC launched, or AMC plus 8 launched. You'll have a better picture of what AMC is doing on a scaled chart. So this is going to be very helpful here when looking at really just the macro picture here on AMC. The AMC chart is also very helpful just by itself, but the fact that we're bouncing off right now, we're just riding this. We haven't bounced yet, but we're riding this macro resistance trend line, and you can see that we did the same thing back here, okay, in May. All right, May of 2021, April going into May, did the same thing. So we're doing that here on a macro scale. It's a fractal, it's bigger, but you can see that it fits. The ratios are very similar. This thing just comes back down, rides for a little bit before making that bounce. And now that we have dilution news, okay, it makes it a lot easier for something like this to play out. Because you have a short-term, what seems to be a bearish outlook here on just AMC, and then a short-term bullish outlook on Ape. Is naturally happens is these guys did not sell the shares yet. They're just announcing that they're going to. So we might have some upside on Ape before that happens, and then once they complete, they complete this dilution deal here, then we'll be good to go, man, because that's typically like a bullish catalyst after that, and then it's easier for things to start coming back up. So just technicals here are suggesting that we do get that bounce. The cycle again is suggesting that we have the POI, and the POI is going to be around early October. So things are looking pretty good as far as that goes. Let's see. Sava is one of the stocks that we're tracking right now on the Discord here, and we did have a POI for today, so you're starting to see it come up. Really good stuff here on Sava. Really nice targets. But yeah, Amy, dude, is looking awesome. Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and look at intraday AMC real quick. We're just riding that $7 level right now, about to cross below. So again, AMC plus 8 indicator. As soon as I get this posted, make sure you guys join the Discord if you haven't already. It's really straight up. There's just a For You page and a chat. It's very simple. You join that, and I will go ahead and post the indicator link there later today as soon as I get everything here fixed up. Okay. All right, intraday AMC, let's go. See how different they both are? AMC plus APE, and then just AMC by itself. How different they really look. So it's very important to, sort of study these individually, because you are going to get a different setup here. And why I think things are pretty bullish here is because, well, this is AMC's true price is going to be AMC plus APE. It's not going to be just AMC. But also looking at what they're going to end up doing on an individual level after we get this bounce is going to be very important when tracking these stocks, right? Because we know AMC has an option chain. APE is being diluted, so naturally you are going to have more, you're going to have probably, just based on the way things are tracking right now, APE is going up. Right, it did come down. It went up about 10%, and then it came back down. It's up 3%. But you're probably going to get them selling some shares once APE starts to climb a little bit. And then once they do clear this out, good to go. They both might start coming up together, but I do see them possibly straying away from one another once we do get to cross certain levels of resistance. So it's going to be very important to track them there on an individual level, and I think once they do that, then AMC plus APE might not matter as much, and people are probably just going to focus on looking at AMC's chart. But right now, it's important to look at both, and in the future, look at them a little bit differently. Okay, so we're gonna go this out of your way. So right now we are crossing one of the first levels here of support. We just crossed 695 here for AMC. We didn't. We're just riding that $7 range here. Haven't crossed below. So something to consider is these are psychological levels, guys, whole numbers. So it's likely that when we do get to this cross, we probably will cross 7 today, and it's probably going to take a pretty nasty drop here, but it's a short-term drop, and it's a spring setup. So once we do get this bounce, it's going to be a pretty drastic bounce because we are dealing with, these single-digit levels again, and that becomes attractive to retail. Retail buys when the stock is below $10. So I think that's going to put a lot of pressure here, a lot of volume pressure on the stock. We're going to get a spring effect. So I talked about the inverse POI, but the inverse POI with the news that we just got becomes what could be this like short-term inverse POI, which is what we're getting right now. I talked about a 50% drop from where we were at, and I pulled up that pattern last week. I don't know if I still have it. Here it is. Okay, so this is the pattern I pulled up last week, and we're following this thing to a T. We're following the same levels. You can see right now we're at the $7 range. A 50% drop would take this all the way down to 5. However, this would be considered more of a macro inverse POI because October, not mid-October, but early October going into like the 12th would be the peak on the cycle, which is right here. And this is where you're starting to get your POI play out. So if you guys saw I posted a snip on Twitter talking about a short-term reversal here in the market, which would be a double bottom, that would indicate as well a very similar setup here on AMC, which would have to be a bounce right as we get to this like 650 area and we get the spring. Would have to be a bounce for things to start playing back up. And then the lingering effect on the POI. So the POI, guys, is volatility. So you're going to see a lot of volume. And the lingering effect is what's going to cause everything here to play out in the end. Okay. So you guys know how the lingering effect works on every single POI that we've had here. So, for example, here's the POI, lingering effect, macro POI, same thing here. Okay, POI is right here, and then this is the lingering effect. Sometimes with these bigger, you know, if we're expecting this to go and cross major levels of resistance, that's going to be even a bigger POI, a bigger point of interest that actually plays out. So I wouldn't focus on a 1 to 2 day event. If this thing is going to go and cross this level of resistance, this one, and this one, it's going to take about a couple of weeks to a month, possibly even longer, for the entire sequence to play out. Okay, so it's very important to consider. All right. All right, so let's take a look at everything else here that's going on in the market. Let's take a look at the SPY. All right, so I got my little spots indicator here again. I got the two setups that I'm tracking, which one is a spring forecast. You can see here that we are at a double bottom. The SPY has not yet crossed this very important level, so it's a very similar setup here. If the SPY crosses this, it's probably going to get a falling knife, a very quick one too, that will act maybe as a short-term spring like I had mentioned, and then a full push back down to a range, really, which is going to be the 340 to 320 area before making a push back up. So this is the projection I have for this. I do this a lot with, well, many stocks here using this spots indicator that I made, which uses a cycle to make this moving average. And then all these crosses that you're looking at here are set to individual stock parameters, I guess you can call them, because they are. You have to have certain inputs with the cycle that you are tracking, right? So here with the SPY, this is what we're using, and this one works the best. I also have a wedge forecast, which is a little quicker, and this is one that we have also been tracking since last week. You can see here, riding this way back down, and then a full push through here would get us that blue circle. And then that should push things off all the way up here to touch this macro resistance trend line at around 405. Okay, so there's two scenarios I got here. One's a wedge, and then one is a spring setup here. You see, if I still have this, yeah, I have some things here from the Discord group. Yeah, so this is one of the things I talked about on the Discord that goes with the spring forecast here, which is something we see on the SPY a lot, and it's this. This is the one I'm looking for right now. So these are, well, this is a double bottom here, and these are wedges. These are both wedges. So this is a ascending, and then this is a descending wedge, okay? And I think this is what we're going to play out on the macro scale. If we do cross this major level of support. If we don't, then it's possible we do something like this. All right, and then this would be the wedge forecast here, the SPY. So a little bit quicker, but ultimately you get the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then obviously this one's out of play. This one is no longer valid unless you do this would have to be like a really long and large setup. This is why it's important to really consider all time frames when looking at patterns, because, you know, and not just stick to one time frame and look at things from one level here, because really there's many patterns that can, you know, play out from just one, looking at one time frame, right? So, yeah, that's the SPY for you, man. That's the SPY. Let's look at AMC again. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the weekly POI here on AMC. Just AMC, though. I believe it's this one. Yeah, it is. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Can you see that? Oh, dude, this thing looks wonky as heck. There we go. So this is, I mean, you can see right here with this setup, guys, how it's following the bullish setup here. And I said the bullish setup would be a short-term bear scenario here. Okay, I post these on Sundays every single week. And you can see here that we're coming back down to what is this trend line, right? This macro trend line. We're about to bounce. So I don't expect this. I expect it to be a short-term bounce, a short-term spring, and then start to climb back up. And this is where we would get the POI. All right. So that is going to be this bigger POI, the first leg up here that we need. But for this to happen, again, we do need to have all the other market conditions play out according to plan, right? So far things are looking pretty good, man. I wouldn't let any this scare anybody unless we do cross, like fully cross below, and we start playing out the inverse POI, which would take us to $5, right? That would be an inverse POI. Anything at the $5 range for AMC will be an inverse POI. And then we would have to wait for the next POI. That's it. But I'm not gonna get there yet. I'm not gonna talk about that yet because I don't think we are there right now. I think we're riding this trend line here and looking for a bounce. And with the catalyst, the news, all that stuff is really looking good here for AMC. All right. Song in the background, dude. This is Knights of Sidonia. My ear is like tingling over here. Okay. This is Uprising by Muse. Let's see. Yo, let me know if the stream is having any lag or anything like that. Okay, cool. Wow. Okay, so a couple of POIs, yeah. A couple of POIs that we have here on track are playing out according to layout. Yeah, so the dilution announcement, again, I'm not, like, all this stuff, guys, all these catalysts that come out, they're catalysts that either to the bullish or bearish side, they're a way to sort of spice things up on what is already a cycle, something that is happening, right? The composite man that is controlling the price. So you just get news in between what's going on to sort of cover up some of the volume that's being released or some of the volume that's being shorted. So with dilution, typically it's is bearish news. It's not always a case that you get this though, because well, in this case for AMC, we're getting dilution for APE, not AMC. Even though AMC is down, yeah, it is affecting that right now. We're having a sort of inverse effect right now as APE is up, AMC is down. But it's a way to sort of, create this this balance between both stocks, and this is why I had said that we should be looking at AMC plus APE right now. And this is the indicator that I pulled up, right? AMC plus APE is important. I gotta move this here on the launch right here. It's important to track this because of that reason, that we don't have enough information yet, and we need all that we can right now from AMC's true price until they both completely stray away from one another. If APE goes down to $1 or below and AMC starts to rise, well, you're going to see there that they're really just using APE for cash, which is ultimately the purpose. It's what they wanted to do in the first place. So, yeah. With that, man, that is why you're having that news that they're selling that, is because, well, they need cash. Okay. Awesome. I was gonna say something too, man. Like, I can't wait to rally with the family, dude. That's been long overdue. Whenever we get AMC going up, as soon as we get this like strong push back up, we are gonna fucking rally, dude. I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun in here. It's been a while, dude. It's been a while. Okay. I'm going to make some projections too for AMC here, and sort of using this same indicator that I did for the SPY, I'm going to make something for AMC soon and track that here every single day. So more of like a macro prediction on everything going on. Get some of those, instead of tracking just like weekly POIs. That's why I just updated the website to do a little bit of that, and focusing on the macro, but also focusing on what is going on the micro and like the weekly POIs and stuff, right? Okay. Let's also look at GameStop real quick, just to see what is up here with this setup. I don't know why I got like Adobe Premiere opening up here on my thing, dude. It's gonna... Oh no. Close, bro. Close. All right. This is GameStop right here. Okay, you can kind of see we're in a projector pattern. Okay, different overall pattern, but we are still we're still in a short-term projector here for GameStop. You can see here with this trend line, we are following and respecting this level of support. So actually, there's a lot of stocks right now that have a projector pattern, and I was talking about this with, you know, sometimes on the way up, you are going to get a series of projectors, which is just a broadening wedge. It's just a series of projectors. We saw that back here with GameStop. But ultimately, you're going to get one final projector that is going to be the one that actually shoots the price up. And it depends on what the technical setup is, because you can make like projectors can come from wedges, right? Like we just talked about the break and resistance here for AMC. This would technically be considered that projector, and it would act as a slingshot. There are many ways projectors can be, you know, displayed here. We also talked about Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin is on a massive projector pattern. Yes. I believe I used a 3-day. Here we go. Yeah, I even drew it. You can see this line right here of resistance, and actually, wow. Now that I look at the spots indicator here, you can see that we're about to make that cross, that first cross here. blue, but I think before it does that, we might have just one last spring here on Bitcoin before it does come back into this channel. And this is a projector right here. So like the entire market is riding what is very low levels, very considered all-time low, or at least 52-week low levels. And market's been on a downtrend since January of this year. So it's been 10 months of just down pressure. So I think soon we're going to start to get this major reversal. So there's a lot of opportunity here in the markets for upside. We just need that confirmation, dude. Just need that confirmation. All right. Having a smaller thing here. Let's see. All right, let's take a look at some other things here in the market real quick. AMC, I know AMC is down, but again, it's coming back down to test a level of resistance, which then becomes support. Okay, once you bounce. So here, actually, from here, that level, yeah, it would be around the 650 that I had talked about. First bounce here, and then a continuation after this back up. It'll be the bullish case here on AMC, guys. Short-term bearish, macro bullish. Okay. Yeah, we do have power hour now. Let's see if it plays out. Bullish power hour. Not always the case that we do that here with, it's been, power hour has been like a thing, or at least it was a thing when we had a bullish market. Now it's, it doesn't normally, play out what is this, power hour set. Now here though, using the intraday spots indicator, you can see, well, first of all, we are respecting the resistance here on this average, and we haven't had that full cross here, that full blue cross. So as soon as we get it here, it's likely we're going to get a nice push here, and it looks like AMC wants to start doing it. So let's see here, a full break here on this cross. I think we're about to get it, and this should start kicking things off here. Now, that's crazy because we did just get into that $6 range here. Very quickly, though. So this is going to be interesting. See what it's looking like here on like the 1 second or something. I look at the 1 second chart. I don't use for, when there's very dry volume. Obviously, the SPY, I would say I would mess around with the SPY on the 1 second because there's so much volume. And you can kind of see it like, I mean, just ticker after ticker. When there's high volume, you definitely can kind of see the algorithm working on the 1 second. But I think it's very, like, this is just, I think it's a little over, like, too much, man. I don't know. If I was tracking patterns, I would definitely zoom out a little bit. And if I, for intraday POIs, definitely zooming out a little bit here. Okay, so we did get a nice cross here. Okay, remember on the inverse color, so pink here, blue, is typically an indicator that this will ride this, what is going to be this wave. So wherever it creates that, level of resistance, which would be right around the 365 here, that is where this thing is going to continue to move. And this, will just keep bouncing back up. But this is typically an indicator for a bigger push up. As you can see back here, very briefly, after hour sessions, still counts. Very short inverse color, and then a massive push back up. Short-term massive. Hey, it counts, man. If you have options, a move like this, if you get in at the right time, could be like a 500% move. If you have, you're playing that theta. Short-term volatility and decaying options is the way to go, man. Not financial advice. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring AMC in here real quick. Right next to the SPY. I'm not sure what is their take on what's going on here, because, well, I mean, remember, guys, the approach that I take in the markets is very different from a traditional, looking at technicals and that's it. The approach that I take here is, spotting volatility levels, volatility time zones, more than anything. That is very important and doesn't quite mix in very well with just looking at technicals. So there's been a history, like historical evidence here, of these POIs lining up with what is this cyclical 2 month movement on this cycle and everything else. So some of the things that I've tracked here, there's been 2 cycles here. One major cycle that did play out completely inverse, and that was the break of this pennant back down. This was an inverse cycle here, and following basically what was this other, so 2 back-to-back inverse cycles, and this one was a little bit more. Well, really here you can't see it because it's not. You do have to scale it. Why it's important to really stretch these patterns out, their heights, so you can see what's going on with the cycle. But again, my approach is different, so I see things a little bit differently from the rest of the crowd. I think there's only a few others that sort of look at things from like a cycle approach, and differently than cycle analysis. Then there's also Wyckoff, which is also looking at the behavior of what certain patterns do on a macro and micro level, and it does use a little bit more technicals, but it's basically they're saying that there is an institution, there is a composite person controlling the price action and moving everything according to the agenda, right, that's out there. So it's just different, man, and I think there's not one right way to do things. I just think it's, it's just kind of figuring out what the market is here. The goal for me is to figure out what the market mechanics are and how these institutions, how market makers are manipulating certain stocks, and using massive amounts of leverage to be able to do that. So, for me, these volatility zones have been extremely accurate. Right now, I can tell you one right here, one right here, one right here, right here. All these have micro POIs that play out according to the cycle. There hasn't been a POI that has not played out. All the POIs here have played out. Now, there's people that are like, yo, well, you're just calling for upside or downside. No, I'm giving you a very specific date range here that tells you if the stock is going to take a massive dump or a massive rally. And all these dates, you can see that here with the volume, because there is, just like you can see the price displayed, see the volume displayed is very different, because you see massive amounts of volume being released on the POIs. You don't see that happening in between, because there's smaller POIs. They're not as this large, and we're not expecting a bigger move. So if the market is cyclical and there are things happening, not only, and this is the thing, man, it's not only with AMC, it's with the entire market. It's just, you're gonna have some stocks that are a lot more manipulated than other stocks, and typically with these we see that there is the option chain, because that is a way to leverage your positions with what could be synthetic shares. Using the option chain to do that. So yeah, very crazy stuff, man. But I live by one thing, man. It's like with the market, it's not about like I'm not gonna sit here and complain about anything that has to do with what's going on in the market or AMC, because nothing's gonna change, and the only thing that you can do is just play their game, and that's what I've said from day one, is just, if something is working for you and you're figuring out some of this stuff, what they don't want you to know is how things are functioning, how things are playing out, and why they're playing out the way they are. They have tools where they're able to manipulate it, and from like a psychological perspective, which is like like the psychology of markets and how that works is entirely through the media, and how they release certain things on certain dates to manipulate what a large group of people are going to do. It's so retail loses 98% of the time. That's what it is, and I think that's what we're experiencing in the entire chart here with AMC, but also in the market, like specifically, the larger indices, the SPY. Same thing, dude. These guys release, like if it's like a bearish statement, sometimes that will not come really a reality for months, and then they'll just bring back that same statement and say, I told you so, but it's just released at the wrong time. So I don't know, man. It's just, they sugarcoat a lot of these different things, and that's part of like the scammy nature of how the stock market works. But to every algorithm and what is this scammy nature, there has to be some kind of code, some kind of algorithm, something controlling what is happening. And I don't think that is just by chance. I think there's a computer massive amounts of computers controlling and influencing these patterns. Because one institution cannot do this by themselves. It has to be a group of big institutional corporation, like multiple companies, sort of understanding what is this code, what is this thing that's driving the price, right? And then they play that game, and then they, shift it back and forth. But hey, what that has sort of taught me here and exposed is that, well, these points of interest have been accurate, and there is something happening here, that we can clearly see, and that, things have been predicted according to that here. So I'm going to keep playing that game, dude. All right. Yeah, so the start of the next, so this is one cycle here. The start of the next cycle, which is typically where the POI lies. Rarely are you going to see it lie here inversely on the red portion. And then you guys know the middle portion is just going to be the driest out of all of them. And there's volatility in the blue pattern, but in between you do get just, stagnant sideways pressure. So typically it does lie in this entire setup right here. So about, end of November, and this would be the next POI, but this is end of November into December is going to be the next one. And yeah, man, like, dude, look at all the cycles that we have here. I mean, I've been telling you guys this, since the channel started, which was back here on the first POI. As soon as we came down right around this range here is when I started doing YouTube. And then, we've been tracking all these POIs ever since. Even the micro POIs, the smaller runs that we've had here, been tracking those. And yeah, man, things have been, again, pretty accurate here on that. And it's just calling for the volatility, man. Like, what the market is going to do ultimately is that is where you have to use other tools to figure out where things are more likely to go next. But the POI is not going to tell you, yo, we're going to hit, 500 tomorrow or whatever. No, it's not. It's going to tell you when things are more likely to happen. And then you use that to be able to, prepare for it. You almost have like a deadline to do something by, which is how these guys are hedging their positions. And then if you have a deadline, I think that gives you a little bit more room to figure out how this pattern is going to look in the end. And then not only that, but really with everything else in the market and sort of using this against the other cycles that are happening to narrow down the possibilities, right? Narrow down the possibilities. And that's a good way to sort of look at the market, in my opinion. Look at it, All right, cycle. Let's see what we're doing, because we're about to cross back down here again to the $7 level of support, right? Psychological level of support. Let's see what all these other things are playing out here. Yes, I am still tracking Sava. Sava is the one of the POIs that we were tracking here on the Discord. It's the first POI of the week on Monday, and right now it's up 10%. And I had told the Discord too. Well, there were some options that I was looking at last week. Those went up 86% today, and right now they are riding sideways. I'm expecting a bigger push, but yeah, everything is tracking according to plan here for Sava. Expecting a bigger push here soon. Talk about the setup, but look at that, man. Sava is just ready. One of the levels I was tracking for Sava, the first level was going to be around the 57, so 60 to 55 is going to be the first level. And then this would create what is this hovering projector, which we see happen on AMC. Trade sideways for about a week, and then it starts climbing back up again. This has a lot of potential because of the setup it has right now. This is a parabolic setup, which is GameStop right here. Same thing. You have the broadening wedge building up its own way, and you set up right up here at the $50 range before creating what is, well, really, I'm not saying you would get an algorithm break or anything on this. You might, but this is just pressure building up on this stock, and this stock obviously has a lower float, so there's a wider range between the bid and the ask, which makes it more likely for this thing to go from 45 to 60 with very little volume. And sometimes these stocks can be very profitable because it doesn't require that much volume, man. It's not as diluted as other stocks that we see. So yeah, potential here, man, for this for sure. It's one of the POIs we're tracking, and the rest are set for later this week. Also, if you guys are interested in the joining the Discord, you just got to click the link below. Patreon actually updated the monthly charge thing, so now it doesn't charge every first. It just charges whenever you sign up, and I think that's really cool because I didn't think it was really fair or anything that they would do that. That it's like you sign up and then you get charged again on the first. Weird system, but they changed it, so things are different now. They're better. All right. Okay. Alrighty, guys. I am going to cut the stream here. Just wanted to update AMC real quick and have that out here for you guys. Remember, I make these videos as short as I can later in the day, unless I'm streaming in the morning, but just so that people coming in can see the updates here that I have. So far, things are tracking pretty good. I think as long as we get this bounce here on AMC in the short term, we should get that nice reversal here going into what is going to be this macro POI early October. Things are looking good. I really do want to see a market bounce on the overall market to get some kind of a spring set up, and that should start, this market reversal that we're expecting. So we'll see how everything tracks, and I will keep you guys updated on everything else. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Love you.